Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks with ADSR, and we're going to kick off a brand new series here on the YouTube channel. And it's one where you get to see my weird face instead of a computer screen. So it's going to be more like discussion-oriented, just general topics, things that come up in the music industry or topics that come up for music producers. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart. It's about presets, sample packs, construction kits, and does it mean that you're a cheater or that you're less of a producer if you use those things? Now, the short answer to this is no. If you don't have an issue with it, it's not a problem. The long answer to it is a little bit more involved, but I don't think there is a valid argument that you need to be making all of your own sounds, and that if you ever use a preset or a sample pack or even a construction kit, that you're less of a producer. And I don't have an issue if you make your own sounds from scratch. Obviously, if you guys know anything about me, you know I sell sound sets, I make sample packs, so I obviously like making sounds. But I use other people's presets. I use Nexus, I use contact libraries, I use a lot of stuff that helps fuel and inspire my creativity or make me feel more creative. And I have no issue with how my songs or productions are conceived. I just want a good product at the end of the day. So a little bit about me if you don't know. I've been producing music since 2002, 2003, and the first thing I ever purchased that was like, wow, I like playing things more than just a piano or a guitar, and this is really fun, was a Korg Triton workstation. I then sold that and got a Yamaha Motif. And for me, I used all the presets on that and so many beats. I was so new, I was terrible. I was pretty bad. And I had no problem. It never even occurred to me oh, this is a preset on a workstation that thousands of people have, recording studios around the country have. There'll be in a lot of beats. I didn't care, and they weren't that customizable. They weren't that expandable. I just used them and created music. And that carried over with me when the technology advanced. Now it's to a point where you can create almost any sound from scratch if you want to. And I think there's merit in that because then other people won't have your sounds and you won't hear that sound in production. But let's be honest, it can take a long time, and we can get lost doing it. So I need to finish beats sometimes quickly for clients and projects, and I don't have 2 weeks to spend just going on a sound design blitz, right? I wish I did, but I sometimes don't. And for me, using presets and sample packs from other developers, it just inspires me. I'm a Nexus user. I use Contact. I use a lot of different libraries to get the job done. I wanted to actually read a meme that I thought would be kind of funny. It's very apt for this discussion. So here goes. I thought using loops was cheating, so I programmed my own using samples. I then thought using samples was cheating, so I recorded real drums. I then thought that programming it was cheating, so I learned to play drums for real. I then thought using purchased drums was cheating, so I learned to make my own. I then thought using pre-made drumhead skins was cheating, so I killed a goat and skinned it. I then thought that was cheating too, so I grew my own goat from a baby goat. I also think that is cheating, but I don't know where to go from here. I haven't made any music lately, what with all the goat farming and all. So do you see the guitar, the two guitars back there? I didn't make those. I purchased those. I walked into a guitar shop, was like, I shouldn't buy this. It's financially not responsible, but I bought it anyway. The computer, Logic, I didn't create any of that. Machine, I use Machine all the time. Didn't create that, didn't make that. I don't know where it became important that you need to create all the tools in your productions. And I think it kind of comes from people who, this is going to be blunt, but this is just in my personal experience. It comes from people who see that there's an added perceived value if they made all the sounds from scratch. And that very well could be true. I mean, that's an impressive feat. You know, if you made all the drums, you made all the synths, you did all that from scratch. I think that's awesome. But what we perceive as success in the music industry is being able to do it professionally. I mean, you get paid for it. You get to do it day in and day out. You have a following. Maybe you get radio play. Maybe you're signed to a label. You're signed to a publisher, right? You're a touring DJ. That's what we kind of value as success in the music industry. So no one cares. Like a publisher, I have a publisher. My publisher doesn't care what sample pack I use or not used on their track. They're like, hey, you have this opportunity for TV and sync. It needs to be done by next Tuesday. Get it done, or you're not going to be considered for the project. It's like, that's all that matters, right? Like, I have to get it done. I don't care if I use Nexus, I use Vandalism, I use Echo Soundworks. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever gets a good result. So back in the 80s and 90s, this wasn't an issue. Like I said I started using the Korg and the Yamaha. Take it back further. Roland TR-808s, 909s, when those came out, they were hugely popular. They're used on countless records. You couldn't sample into those things, really. You couldn't change a whole lot. You just used them, and no one was like, oh, you used that? I mean, maybe some people who were live band aficionados, but electronic music producers just loved it. Same with crate digging, sampling in the 90s. You sampled from pre-recorded music, and it was never an issue, really. I mean, it was an issue with like sample clearances and licenses, but it wasn't an issue in the creative world. Like, you never ran into other producers being like, you sampled from a record? No, that's a huge part of music. So a huge part of music is the collaborative process. And I actually think that a huge part of that collaborative process extends to not ever meeting the person, right? Like, the person who made a preset or a sample library, a contact piano library, has inspired me to create music. It's almost like I collaborated with them or that team of people. I've never met them. I've never been in the room with them. And some of the best music I've ever made have been with a songwriter, a lyricist, a top liner, a mastering engineer. There's 5 or 6 people involved, and I feel great about some of those projects. And it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, no one really cares. The listener will never care, right? That's the end goal, to have a listener enjoy your music. They don't care. A listener's never going to be like, but did he make his own sound in silence? It doesn't happen. So I've definitely been bagging on people in a little bit who make their own sounds. That's awesome. Like, if you can do that, it doesn't slow you down. By all means, do that, but don't shit on the people who do use presets, because there is merit to both of them. So if you guys have been on the fence about this, don't care. Just do whatever works for you. Develop your own workflow. This is a question that I feel like a lot of people have when they're starting out. Should they buy sound sets, or should they learn how to use a synth? Both. Buy some sounds, see how they feel. That way your early productions won't be as embarrassingly shitty. Mine were awful, probably, because one thing it takes a while to learn is like having the good taste of learning what is a good sound and what isn't. That's a whole other video for another topic. But just do whatever works for you at the end of the day. Doesn't really matter. So there you guys go. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. I would love to hear what you think about this topic. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Sowers. I'll see you guys next time.